I may not be a gaming developer nor a gaming programmer, but I have some very unfortunate news for both gamers and developers alike. Unity is now basically charging developers a fee per install of a video game. Now, we're going to start from the very beginning because this is all just came out of nowhere so suddenly. Apparently, Unity, I guess, has become so big with the indie game developers that they're deciding to rip their hinges, or more accurately, starve them of food. Now, gaming developers are being forced to probably switch, but for most of them, they're in the middle of certain projects that are considered big Unity projects, which is incredibly bad. Now it's forcing them to stick their guns with Unity to finish those projects before they can even plan to do so. Reading through this article here, it is important to note that as a company that develops a platform that many other developers rely on, I think this change, along with its announcement, has been handled very irresponsibly. This article was released about 19 hours ago, so Unity is planning on catching developers who are going to start releasing products or projects in 2024, and depending on how many installs they're going to get, whether it's just simply downloading the game or whatnot, they're going to be charged whatever amount they got. Reading through the article here, it says that much more so than with today's review bombings, malicious users could cause real financial harm to Unity-made games by spamming installs. And then stating, piracy bots delisted games that can still be installed. These are all hypotheticals that Unity may address in the future. Post-editing glitchy here. It's important to note that Kunz, an American gaming developer, has also stated in this that the fact that it's absolutely not clear from the get-go spells bad news. I wouldn't be surprised if it turns out there's something straight up illegal about it too. I've lost a ton of faith in Unity. Even if they don't go through with this, they've shown their hand. Honestly, rereading this also, I'd like to put my extra take on this before the end. This feels more like a Shakedown, just to create a video game for a program that's supposed to technically be free to use, so you can create any form of gaming. So, since piracy is a strong thing, there's a lot of games that are being pirated, whether it be probably Nintendo, from emulators, to any other game that's too much expensive for the common pleb. Review bombing is a serious problem, and I mean that. Games like Cyberpunk are suffering conditions where they just dropped the game, and it was pretty bad. I could say so. The game had a lot of glitches, NPCs T-posing for random situations. You could have a serious conversation with the character, and they fall through the floor. I've only seen that once, though. I can't really say much because that was probably just a video that I watched with a bad PC. But with everything that this article's stating, a lot of developers have a lot to say. So, this man, I don't know who he is, Tyler Grillale of, sorry if I mispronounced your name, The End of Nye, The Basement Collection, and many more games, says this isn't Unity's first stumble. But it has killed the engine in his eyes. I will never even consider Unity for new projects now. Sucks for developers who are in the later stages of a big Unity project who can't afford to switch engines, and at this point, everyone else, I'd strongly recommend considering switching. Yikes. Stake up the ass, I guess. Developers who are in big Unity projects are going to get the worst case scenario. They will probably drop their game and probably severely be punished for such contents. This is just a giant middle finger to all the gaming developers, specifically indie developers, more accurately. Developers like Team Cherry, who have made games like Hollow Knight, which is beautiful. The art style in it is just mesmerizing, and even better, the combat system is just very unique. From hitting spikes to get over certain areas, and different combat strategies to defeat your bosses. I haven't tried Cult of the Lamb, which is made by the developers of Massive Monster, but it looks really promising, almost at the same level as Hollow Knight. I'd have to say they're sitting at the hottest 9 out of 10 with 41,000 reviews. That's a lot from a game that's not really mainstreamed, if that makes sense. I really appreciate games like Terraria, which they implemented a whole mod section for, have I mind you, called Tmod Loader. I really enjoy going there every once in a while to play any community-based mods from different bosses, weapons, alike. It keeps you involved into the community so that you could just keep coming back, making sure that you're entertained for the most part. It's a shame. It's a big shame because Unity used to be a very huge product, a huge gaming software. And now the developers who are now stuck with this software, they're not going to be able to just rip their whole project out of it. They have to stick to the end to finish it, then to realize that they're being charged God knows how much from each install. It could be from $20 or just a mere buck, which is still just as bad because adding it up to 1 million installs of a community, it's both pleasing to see, but that's also going to cost you lots of money. Because at the end of the day, you may get a certain amount of revenue for it, and then that half of that revenue is probably just going to have to go to Unity for some reason. With stuff like Analog Horror taking the scene, projects like Mandela Catalog, Vita Carnis, or even Gemini Home Entertainments, some of those projects are being made with Unity, with the 3D environments to audios. It's a shame. I'm hoping those people also don't get punished with this kind of thing. I don't know how gaming development goes, nor how seriously involved you have to be into the development of that, just to realize, oh, I'm about to get penetrated by a fee. I'm not a big shtick when it comes to money-related projects, because most of the games that are being created are usually on Unity, and to see Unity kind of tear those strong-willed people creating such amazing projects, now they're just going to be forced to freaking get rid of it. Even the Cult of the Lamb devs have stated that they're threatening to delete the game on January 1st and recommending players to buy it before it disappears, which says a lot. Unity is definitely gonna punish those devs, which shows that they are not the top of the notch developers when it comes to major products, but you can tell that these people aren't gonna survive after the amount of installs they're gonna get on the 2024. It sucks. I really hate to see some games go already. I'm afraid that we might hear more by people who are creating Unity games, or we might even have major titles that are coming up that are going to be canceled, which some developers would be doing. For my take on this situation, to be completely honest, I think we'll be fine. As much as Unity is going to absolutely destroy certain developers, there's still softwares like Blender, specifically Unreal Engine, which actually they're creating a game called Ultra Realistic, which looks very good, but also very scary because of the realism in it, which is why it has mixed reviews. But I think this is a good, somewhat of a decent start to Unreal Engine's new update. I get very well promise that gaming is just not gonna die wholeheartedly, but this is a major setback for specifically indie developers. People like the developers of Terraria have been working really hard to continuously updating that game, even announcing gaming boards and even books, which I haven't been able to catch up to because I really appreciate the content that they provide. At the end of the day, Unity shot themselves in the foot in this. A lot of developers are very ashamed in how much they've shown disrespect to those indie developers, because these people are very creative. Hollow Knight, I've only played about 3 hours of it, at least. I really appreciate a lot of the cinematography it provides, and a lot of the scenarios in it are very confusing, but that's what makes you get involved in the world of Team Cherry. Alright guys, thank you for listening. Stay glitchy.